Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. Very excited this week on the podcast. I'm hyper. I'm giddy. There's like a last day of term vibe because I can't believe I'm saying this, but my guest on the podcast this week is none other than actual real life Tom Segura. One of the biggest comedians anywhere in the world. One of the best comics of his generation. I'm a huge fan of him. We made a list at the start of this year of people I'd love to get on the podcast. He was on it, and he's done it. You'll know Tom from Two Bears, One Cave podcast, Your Mom's House, countless Netflix specials. He does Two Bears, One Cave with fellow friend of the pod, Burr. And I don't know how we're getting these people, but we're getting them. I don't know what Dan's using against these people to secure them being on the pod, but we're just going to go with it. We went down to Dublin to do this episode. We took a wee Tea With Me road trip, and it was a very nice time. This is wild that we're doing this, by the way. The idea that someone of this magnitude would do our wee podcast just blows me away. So I'm very excited to just meet Tom, never mind do a podcast with him. This is great. I've never been more nervous about making someone a cup of tea. You know, I hope you like it, Mr. Tom. It's going to be a great time. Thank you very much once again to Tom Segura for agreeing to do this podcast. This is mental. Before we get into the pod, got to plug a few things. Number one, patreon.com/Tea With Me podcast. There is more exclusivity on this Patreon than Soho House. Let me tell you that. We have Patreon only events left, right and centre. We just had last night we just had an event that is only for Patreons. We're going to do a Patreon only podcast in the Lyric in Belfast. We're doing London and what date, Dan?
26th of May.
26th of May. We're doing Tea With Me podcast in London. Those tickets went out first. The people on Patreon. Bonus episodes, live stream. We're going to do so much more this year with it. So check out that if you're a big fan of the pod. We are sponsored by NordVPN. Now, you're going to say, what's a VPN? That's a virtual private network that protects your internet connection and privacy online. You know, I just did my first tour of Australia, and when I was out there, I wanted three things. I wanted to meet a koala, which I got to do. Shout out to Paddington Koala. That was his name, Paddington, in the zoo in Sydney, which was great. Got to meet him. They said I paid money to get a photo with him, and then I didn't realise it would be that close. And then they went, "You can pet him," and I said, "I'd rather not." And the zookeeper lady went, No, you have to." And I went, Don't force me into it. I don't have to do it, but I'll stand near him." So if you see that photo that I posted, look at the terror in my face because I'm trying to smile. But also I've heard that they rip literally the insides out of Asian tourists sometimes. I wanted to be online, right? But when I was online, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to make sure I could still access my favourite content from home when I was abroad. Things like, Give My Headpiece. Things like Final Score NI. Things like Lesser Spotted Ulster, if that's still going. And I wanted to be safe when I was doing so because I didn't want these hackers getting into my head, stealing my passwords, hacking, piracy. I want to browse in complete privacy of my own home. So if you're thinking of catching up on your favourite podcast using public Wi-Fi, hey, make sure you're not the only one listening. You are yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Dan. Make sure you're the only one listening because you might not be. We all saw that spy balloon. Cheers, China. You want to take your cybersecurity to the next level. NordVPN works across everything. I don't know what this thing is, but you need it. Windows, Mac, OS, iOS, Android, Linux, Gary Linuxer, and even Android TV. You grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/teawithme to get a huge discount. You purchase a 2-year plan, you get a 4-month bonus on top. That's 20% extra threat protection, I think. We're also sponsored by Manscaped. These guys have been with us since the dawn of this podcast, and will continue. We're like allies. We're like America and Mexico. I think it's all right now. I think they might. It's all good. Manscaped is the number one in men's below the belt grooming. I'm talking about your down under, and when I was down under, you better believe that I walked into Australia, and their customs people said, anything to declare? And I said, only the smoothest sack in Europe. And they said, okay, I'll take your word for it. And I said, don't just take my word for it. Let me pull down my trousers and pants in the arrivals area of Melbourne Airport. They said, sir, that's illegal. You'll go to jail for this. I said, I'll fall on my sword. And by that I mean my smooth penis. Because I have used... It's bent. It's broken. I have used the number one men's grooming product range. These guys have everything. I would love you to call up Manscaped and see if there's something they haven't thought of when it comes to your dick and balls and the bit under it. Perineum. Or is that a mountain range? They have everything. They've got the Lawnmower 4.0. By the way, I've got the inside lead. All I'm saying is there might be a 5.0 in production. They've got ball toner, ball deodorant, ball wipes, lip balm. They've got everything. Use code T with me for 20% off and free shipping. Cheers to Manscaped for being with us for so long. Let's get into this podcast. You're always doing the ads. I have to support the podcast. Don't do them. Let's get into this episode with brand new friend of the podcast. Can't believe we're doing this, but we've done it. Please welcome Tom Segura. May I prepare some tea?
Sure.
Now, are you like a tea drinker?
No.
Okay. So have you haven't had like Irish or British tea?
I mean, I've had it before, but like not on any regular basis.
Okay. All right. Well, would you like me to pour for you first?
Sure. Whatever.
It's going to be, if I pour me first, it's going to be the first cup's going to be a little bit weaker. So would you like the weaker or the stronger tea?
I think I'll probably take the stronger tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pour first then. Because like obviously
is this a traditional?
This is traditional
Irish tea.
Yeah, I did. We were just talking before this. I did my first Australia tour, and backstage at the show, after the show, some guys from home came up and had like a zip bag, like a sandwich bag, and came up to me and was like, "That's for you." And the tour guy was like, "I didn't see anything." It was genuinely tea bags.
Tea bags.
On the road, people will bring me tea bags.
And you really?
Yeah.
You're a huge tea fan?
Yeah, and you can't like. Round the world is different. Like they'll claim to have it. You know, in America they'll be like, "We've got breakfast tea," but it's just not
shit tea.
It's not right. Yeah, it's not right.
Is it just weak?
It's weak, and there's just, I don't know. I need a cup of tea wherever I am to settle myself.
You do.
Like I don't really drink that much.
Neither do I.
But before a show, I need a cup of tea.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be off if I don't. You know.
Nice.
So I travel with my own stuff.
You travel with your own tea.
Yeah.
That's
not much of it, like not a weird amount, but yeah, I will travel with it.
I respect it.
So, and you're okay with almond milk?
I think do you have regular milk too?
Yeah, we've got regular.
I'll do regular.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Now I just want your honest opinion on this. Do you strong or weak? Strong?
Sure, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'd never drink tea.
Okay, I think this might unlock a new thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say that if I'm sick,
yeah,
or like if I have a meal that is like too much, you're like, let's get some digestive tea. But I never go like, oh, my day doesn't feel right. Let me get a cup of tea.
I can't start my day.
Yeah.
Like I have 2 kids under 3.
Oh,
and
Jesus,
last night,
you're in it.
Last night was a bad night, sleep-wise. This morning, 6 a.m, cup of tea. It's all good.
Oh, really?
It's all good.
Okay. So
yeah, just cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Here we go. That's nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like
you don't feel like, you know...
I would tell you this tastes like dog piss, but
okay.
It doesn't.
You think it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's something comforting in that.
It's nice.
You know, everything's lifted a little bit. You doing this podcast is a very kind gesture. Like, I really appreciate you coming to do it.
No, appreciate the invite.
I want to ask you, is there something that somebody did for you when you were coming up that you really
appreciated, like someone really established, whether you went on their show or they came on yours?
Oh, I mean, that was done a number of times. I mean, for podcasting wise, I would say, I first, I did Rogan before it was this monster. Like I'm on like episode 3, 7, 9, 12, 15. Like I'm in like a.
And that was that when podcasting wasn't the huge.
It was 2009,
right?
So nobody was like, "Oh, you're doing Rogan." Like it was just like he was trying this thing,
right?
And I thought he was mental patient for doing it. And he was like, "Come over again." I was like, "To do your fucking thing again?" Yeah. I don't even think I called it a podcast. I was like, "To do like your audio recording thing." Yeah. But even like after they started to gain steam, like after they started to get bigger,
yeah,
I think anytime I do his, I still feel like it's such a generous gesture on his part. He's come on mine. Burr was a guest multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like anytime, I think when those comics were doing that, especially when I was like trying to like establish the show and an audience, that I was super grateful to have that. Yeah. And then also those guys take me on the road. That was another like extension of that generosity, Like I remember Russell Peters brought me to do the O2 Arena with him in 2010.
Oh, in London?
In London, yeah.
Right.
So we flew over and we did a warm-up show in Birmingham for like 7,500 people. He's like, we'll do a warm-up. This is a warm-up show? Yeah. And then I fucking ate shit on that show.
Right.
And I was like, dude, that I ate shit. And he was like, that's because in Birmingham, his audience obviously is like a lot of Indian people.
Yeah.
He goes, in Birmingham, they're straight off the boat.
Right.
And he goes, in London, they'll be like second generation.
They're
and he was right. Like
right.
He's like, half of them didn't understand what you were talking about.
Right.
And then the London shows were rocking.
Yeah.
But that was 2010.
Yeah, I got to do Bill Burr's Belfast show, and it was the first like big act that I'd opened for.
Yeah.
And he was just the nicest guy backstage.
Yeah.
It was just like a 5-minute chat. And even if I hadn't have had that, I'd have been delighted.
Yeah.
But they said, "Oh, do you want to meet Bill?" He just travelled from somewhere pretty far in a car. I think he'd done Galway, and had like a 5-minute chat. He's like, "How long you been doing stand up for?" Yeah. And it was great. That was the first time I'd done stand up for someone big. Opening's great because there's no real pressure, and it doesn't take much for the audience to go, "This guy's all right."
Yeah. I don't know. I think it can be pressure though. It's probably your outlook on it.
Yeah.
Like I learned something from those opening days where like now any show I do, I always introduce the opener voice of God.
Yes.
So
yeah.
like as like a way of being like, I put this guy up here.
I know this guy.
Yeah.
I was talking to you before this, I've said on pod before about fucking up Kevin Hart's introduction when he did Dublin last time.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I tell anyone that and they're like, "Oh, that's a nightmare," but as a stand-up you feel that anxiety when I introduced him and he wasn't there.
I felt it in my soul
Yeah.
when you were talking. Before you even got to it, I just knew it was going to go somewhere uncomfortable. I was like, oh, fuck.
It was I couldn't be talked down after. Have you, like when you started opening for say someone like Russell Peters or back in the day when you were maybe featuring for people, do you fuck anything up bad?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the answer is yes. I fucked up a number of things. I mean, I remember even doing like Melrose, the Improv in LA.
Oh yeah.
Which is not like this huge show, but just like being newer and forgetting who I'm going to bring up next.
Right.
And I remembered that I think his name was, I already forgot again. I think his name was Peter Berman.
Right.
And just in those moments when you're just nervous, I go, "Give it up for Mr. Berman." And he got on stage and lit my ass up. He's like, "What am I, your fucking math teacher?" Like he fucking lit me up, dude. And I was
because you could only remember a surname.
I get all, and I go, "Put your hands
Berman's
together."
too familiar. Just
Mr. Berman. Like,
because it also makes it seem like he's going to do a character.
Oh, I mean, it's the worst way you can introduce somebody. And he walked on stage. He was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. I didn't know him. That makes it, Yeah. He's like, "Are you trying to bust my balls?" Like, it was crazy. In
the little like work in progress shows that Kevin Hart was doing, he the first night he went to do a fist bump, and it was kind of like dark in the room. It was the first time bringing him on stage, and I went for more of a higher handshake, and did like kind of hugged his fist, and it was just, and I held him there for slightly too long, and every time, all it takes is something like that for me to go, I'm never going to work again.
Yeah.
But no one cares.
No one cares.
Like
No
that
one
guy
cares.
was just messing about with you, but like,
Yeah.
it would take someone really evil to be like, this guy's done.
I remember I did, I think it's called the Shoreline Amphitheater with Chappelle, and it was like a long lineup.
Right.
Like
right.
a fucking the longest lineup. So it was like 6 comics, each doing 20, intermission, 6 more comics.
Oh shit. Right.
You know, like one of those festival type environments. 22,000 people at this thing.
In a stadium?
Amphitheater, outside
Okay.
amphitheater,
Right,
right?
right.
So like where the lawn goes up, you know. And I was second to last. So they had seen
Yeah.
like 15, I don't know how many comics.
Yeah.
It's the worst slot actually, because then every time they're like, this must be Dave.
Yeah.
And then they're like, are you ready? And they're like, yes. And they're like, one more. And, you're like,
Yeah.
and I remember I was like, man, I got up there, and you can only see like a few hundred people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's literally 20,000 people there.
Yeah.
And the people I was doing like this like really low key, slow burn bit. And I just saw people like
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah. And there was this moment in my head where I can't believe this is true, but I contemplated going, I think tonight's not my night, and just walk off.
Right.
Like I actually thought I was going to do that. And then I just finished the set, and I heard an ovation, and I got off, and I was like, man, I think I ate shit.
Right.
And I had other people being like, no, you just like, you did great. And I was like, no, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do those types of shows again.
Right.
It probably was like a couple of years before I did it again.
Yeah.
Because I internalized how that felt so strongly.
Yeah.
Like it fucking just, I felt like I was bombing.
Yeah.
And then it was weird because like you go online and you're seeing like people at the show and they were like, that was great. Because they don't see the faces you saw.
Yes.
They're
yeah.
like a mile back.
Yeah.
And they're like, they think it went well. But those types of shows still kind of traumatize you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
the first time I did, it was the venue that Bill Burr did. It's called the Ulster Hall in Belfast. Holds like 1,000. And the first time I did that by myself, I'd never done a room that size or been told, hey, the laugh's going to take a while to travel back to you.
yeah,
So the first,
that's true.
in my opening bit, I thought I didn't get a laugh because 0.1 second went by without a laugh.
Yeah,
So I was like, shit, I need to fill this time. I watched it back. There's no gap in anything I do because I didn't think the laugh was coming. So maybe like 40 minutes into the set.
you gotta take a breather.
Or the second night I realised like, oh, that takes a while to get to.
Yeah, we call it arena pacing,
Right.
where you have to slow everything down a couple gears.
Yeah.
Like you have to, because
I remember the next time doing a room like that and going, you just wait for the joke and doing a punchline and going like, it's coming. And then it just did. I was like, sometimes it also will just not get a laugh. What do you think of Dublin? You've been over here a lot to do shows?
no, this is I can't remember if this is my second or third time.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's my third time here.
Yeah.
I can't even totally remember. I think it is.
And do you do like, when you're in a city, you seem like you do like active stuff as opposed to...
More than I used to.
Yeah.
But still, like, you still have to set a limit to it.
Yeah.
This is a very, very taxing tour that I've been on.
How many shows?
Well, there's this leg of the tour,
Yeah.
and then there's the tour. Like, so for the whole tour, which ends for me, this entire tour ends for me in like 10 days. It's 303 shows.
It's probably more shows than I've ever done. I've been doing stand-up for 16 years.
So many shows, dude.
Yeah.
But this leg of the tour, I don't remember it's 40 days. It's a lot of days.
Yeah.
And,
Europe? Just Europe?
Yeah. And so like there was days where like we had days off in Paris before and after our show there. And I just remember like one day I was just like, we had a car pick us up and we had, the Louvre, and then we're going to go to Fondation, what is it? Louis Vuitton for their exhibit. So we're like, dude, by the second place, we were like, let's go back to the hotel, man. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
Because it's the mental exhaustion of like, where are we going? Where do we walk in? How do we see shit?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I try to like see some things that are compelling to see. Like I like art, so I'm gonna go try to see some art, or if we find something in a city, like when we go to Reykjavik, I do want to they have like these hot springs.
Oh, yeah.
So like there's things like that, but I also found that you can overdo it.
Definitely.
You know, you have to to pace yourself.
Yeah, because I like doing Australia there, I'd never done it before. Because my kids are really young, I was like, I'll do the shortest trip possible. So send me over there, but let's pack all the shows in. So I think I did 9 shows in 13 days. And we were traveling like the route didn't make sense. Instead of like traveling like this way, it was like go there, come back to there, go back to there. And it was all going good. And then on like the third last day, I said to a guy that I know who lives there, I was like, can you like get me a koala? Like not to keep. He seemed like, a guy would know where there would be that kind of thing. I was like, he'll have to jump on it. And he's like, I know a place. And I went to meet a koala. And it's called like the VIP koala experience. But in the state I was in, you're not allowed to hold them. So there's parts of Australia where they're like, get a photo, hug this guy.
Brisbane lets you do that, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, what can you do here? He's like, you can be near it and kind of touch it. And there was a moment where I was like, I think all the excitement of meeting the koala and then realising I was missing my kids so much hit me. And there's a photo of me with a koala and inside I'm crying. Yeah. You know, it got so much.
Yeah.
Koala's the same size as one of my kids. Sure. So like... At that moment, that all just got the better of me.
Yeah, there's times where I get super sad. Yeah, I get lonely on tour.
Yeah,
and this is it's too long. We signed up for like all those things are like the regular conversation that I have. Yeah, and it's I have kids, and I think they're a little bit older than yours, but they're you miss them, and
because people are like, oh, you got FaceTime, but like sometimes that makes it more difficult.
Oh, it's
you can't be part of it.
I mean, it's good to see stuff, but you miss.
Although when I came back from, even though I was away for 2 weeks. When I came back from Australia, my son was like, my older son, big, like run and jump into my arms and stuff. And there was a selfish part of me that thought, I should go away more. Yeah. Because I loved that moment. Yeah, that
moment's great.
So if he's misbehaving at the minute, I'm like, I'm going to go away.
I'm going away. And if you tell them that, it can really leave an impact. If you're like, if you misbehave, I'll leave again. Yeah. Who knows if I'll come back that time. Yeah.
Daddy's going back to Australia. Yeah. But no, have you held a koala?
Yeah.
Held?
Held. Yeah, I have a photo. It's like one of the happiest photos I think that I own of myself. Like where I'm like, like I'm so smiling.
You can't be cool in a photo with a koala.
No, it's adorable. They smell like shit though.
They've got chlamydia as well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But I don't know how easy it is to get chlamydia off a koala because
you can't.
Pardon?
You can't.
You can't get chlamydia off a koala.
You can't. It's a different strain.
Oh, so even if you were to like,
you can fuck it.
You still can't.
You're fine. Yeah, you could fuck 10 of them. You'd be fine. Yeah.
Well, that was part of the VIP experience that I did. I was missing my kid. I wasn't.
That's
in the mood
why they charge you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I also at the start I was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to record myself reading bedtime stories to my kids. I'll send one every day. But the first one got such a pop that I just didn't do it again. I was like, I killed it with the first one.
If you kill it, you know when to walk away. You're a pro. That's why. Yeah.
And like it's crazy the way people were like, have you? So my sons are 3 and 9 months, and people are like, have you brought them out to Australia? I'm like, we're not doing a 25-hour flight.
No.
With me in business and them in coach.
No
I was like, we're not doing that.
No way.
I
don't understand people that travel internationally with littles at all. Like I have friends that did, like one of my cousins, we took our 6-month-old to Tokyo. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
But like he loves it.
Oh, he was like, it was great. She was great on the flight. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And you enjoyed Tokyo with your 6-month-old?
Yeah.
There's just different ways of doing things, I guess.
How is the way you travel? So say the first time you came over to London compared to now, like when you travel, what's like a thing you really like, and if they don't have that, you're kind of disappointed? Like what's like a comfort thing? Because at the start, you're just happy to...
There's this thing that seems like extraordinary. Like people probably would see this or hear about this and be like, well, that is other level.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's very accessible.
Right.
And like it costs money, but it's not out of this world. And that is airport greeters.
Right.
So you just contact through either your travel agent or airlines, an airport greeter.
Right.
Do you know what that is?
Is it so like they have the sign when you arrive?
Well, so this is like it depends. So depending on your travel, if you let's say you were arriving from the U.S. and you were going to land in London, and then you're going to connect and go to Munich or something, right? So you'd land in London, and when you get off the plane, there's somebody there,
right?
That's like, your name, and takes you through the airport.
Oh, I
takes
saw
you
this
to customs
in Qatar.
Yeah, they take you through if there's like customs, they take you through there, and they take you to the next plane. They basically like make sure you know where everything is.
Oh, okay.
They also have them for like when you arrive in a city, like, hey, this is where you go. So those airport greeters are like a couple $100.
Oh, okay.
But people think that they're like, this is like...
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, or like the airline gave it to you because they know, like, you're like, no, you just book it.
Right.
You book it, and it makes the stress of travel kind of, I think, go down a lot.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because I drink almond milk, I need to find somewhere in the airport that does almond milk, because I need tea when I fly.
God, you're so fucking into tea, man.
Oh, you don't...
This is crazy.
You think you have an idea of how much I'm into it? It's way more than that.
It's way more.
But I'll get, like, here's what I'll do. I'll buy a little bottle of water.
Yeah.
Empty it. Go to a cafe. Can you guys fill that up with a little... And I'm happy to pay, but I wouldn't really be happy to pay. I'm not happy to pay.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll say, hey, can I get a little bit of almond milk? Happy to pay. But the way I'm saying it, they know I'm not happy to pay. And then I get that. And that goes... So when they do tea during the flight, that's when I bring out my little bottle. So I wouldn't like... I would love a greeter if in his back pocket he had a little bit of almond milk.
You could probably request it.
Yeah.
You could probably
They wouldn't... I don't think they charge you extra for that.
No. Especially if they met you, they'd be like, oh, this guy doesn't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
Dude, my cousin is obsessed with real maple syrup.
I thought you were going to say me, and I was like, this is wild. They're American. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Almost real maple syrup.
Right, okay.
And his favorite thing in the world is waffles. You know, he likes, and like he travels with real maple syrup.
Right.
And it's...
But you're saying real, is there like a brand?
So
that is the brand? Aunt Jemima's?
So that's fake. That's not real. That's not what's it called? Like it's like comes out like almost like jelly, and it's just pounds of sugar. You know, it's manufactured. Real maple syrup, you just, I guess I don't know, I think you stick your thumb in a tree and it comes out or something. But it's the real thing.
Right.
So he hates that imitation stuff that like a lot of diners would have, like kind of, like a like a Denny's or whatever place would be like this, and it wouldn't be real. It'd be like that thick bullshit. And he's so obsessed that like you'll go to a restaurant with him and he's like, and you're like, do you have maple syrup in your pocket? And he's like, yes.
For this steak?
And he like flies with it. Like, yeah.
I mean, I can't think that's weird because I do exactly the same thing. Yeah. But also my childhood's kind of been shattered because my dad, when he brought out the Aunt Jemima's, he was like, this is real. This is the real maple syrup. Whole thing's been a lie.
That's not real maple syrup, yeah.
I got by, this was a first for me on this trip, the eBay people. Yeah. Which sound like a sci-fi group. I was staying in the same hotel in Perth as Bert.
Where'd you guys stay?
The Westin.
Oh, you should have stayed at the...
Is there a better place?
In Perth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
I think I even told him.
Right.
Como, the Treasury.
Okay. I just go because I've never been. I'm still at the point where I'm just happy to be there.
I know, but it's such a cool hotel.
Right.
I think it used to be a bank or a treasury building. That's like, well, in hotels, you're like, what the hell? How did? And it's like they took over basically transformed the building.
There's a bit of character about it.
That one's so rad.
Shit. I go to
All right, you're at the Westin. Anyway.
I go to this place. It's the night of the show. Now, I've never been to Australia. A lot of time it's Irish people who live in Australia that are coming to see me. Some Australian people. And the shows are like relatively, especially compared to what Bert was doing out there, small shows. So I don't think anyone knows me but the people that are coming to the shows. And I was collecting an Uber Eats outside the hotel like an hour before my pickup. Yeah. And there was like a middle-aged Australian lady came up to me and she said, I'm really looking forward to coming to your show tonight. And I could, because she was Australian, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, she's obviously booked this hotel for the night. So she said, could I get an autograph? And brought out an autograph book. And this never happened. I'm like, I've never really done an autograph. And she said, yeah, my show was in a place called Freo Social. She's like, I'm excited for your show in Freo Social. And I was like, oh, she's very official. And I said, who will I make this out to? She said her name and I sign it. I'm trying to have a little bit of crack with her, trying to have a joke with her. Sorry, crack is like, we say for like fun or laugh. So I signed this autograph book, and I was like, that's great. And I keep saying to her, what a small world that you ran into me like 1 hour before the show.
Yeah.
That's wild. And then this other Australian lady comes up at the same age, and she's like, I'm really excited for your show tonight in Freo Social. Could I get an autograph? And I was like, what are the chances? I go, yeah. Who do I make it out to? And then there's an Asian guy in an unbelievable shirt, and he has a professional camera. He said, could I get a selfie of us? And I said, that's a very professional camera and a very amazing shirt. Thinking like, he'll love these 2 compliments. He's not laughing. He's like, do you have a message for your Australian fan base? I said, it might be all of us here. You 3 might be it. So I'm like, he'll love that banter.
Yeah.
He's not laughing.
Nothing.
But I was like, maybe he though is like so nervous because he's meeting like his favourite Northern Irish comedian.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I have an autograph? I'm like, I've dropped Uber Eats. I'm like so into this. Who do I make it out to? The first woman said, could I get also an autograph from my kids? She said they're 30, something like they're 32, 19, 7 and 3. And I'm like, yeah.
32, 19, 7
Something
and 3.
like that. I'm like, no worries, taking it. And then the last lady brings out this black card, silver Sharpie, and says, could you sign this but not make it out to anyone? And I'm like, yes. And I signed it. I went back up to my room, king of the world.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I got ready for the show, go down to meet the driver. He's like an Aussie guy who's from the city. He does all the shows. I get in the car and I was like, I signed autographs for people today. I was like, I think that this is unbelievable. These people were Australian. What are the chances? He said, was there an Asian guy in a wild shirt? I was like, yeah. He goes, they're eBay people. I did not understand.
Yeah.
And then when I went to the show and they weren't there, it all made so much sense.
Sure.
Like they'd researched where my show was.
Yeah, they're really good at it. They're really good at it. And the other thing they start to do is they'll show up places. Sometimes they're at airports, which is wild.
He said that's where he sees them because he just had the 1975, the band over.
You land and they're like, because they'll just be like, well, you're coming from here.
Yeah.
And what they'll do is, like the savvy ones, they will bring up things that like if it's on the podcast, they'll bring that up in the moment.
Right.
So to distract you from the fact that they're asking you to do this. So they'll be like, can you believe he travels with almond milk? And you're like, what? And they're like, right? Isn't that nuts? And you're like, I think so. Yeah. And you start signing and they're like, dude, that other thing you said about the maple syrup.
Yeah.
I can't believe, my dad loved maple syrup. And they start talking to you. So you go, oh, yeah. But once you kind of are keyed into it, then it just kind of pisses you off. Like you see them and you're like,
I'm so gutted that I know the truth.
Yeah. And they, by the way, they Topps makes baseball cards.
Yeah.
And they made these comedian baseball cards.
Okay.
Right? A series of...
I feel like that's very niche.
It's very niche, but there's a collector's market for it. So what they did was...
Do you have one?
Yeah, they made one of me.
That's cool.
It was kind of cool, but they made it for like all these comics. And then the collectors, they come out to these places and they have a binder of like 20 of them. Right. They're like, do you mind signing these? And you're like, sign these 20? And then if you go on like eBay and stuff, they sell them for like $500. Because, not because they're worth, but like they're worth that to a collector.
Right, yeah.
So you're basically working for this autograph who's like, just hook it up. And you're like, you mean make these $500 each?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm unbelievably curious to know what my autograph is going to fetch on Australian eBay.
It's going to fetch something, dude.
I'm going to buy
you
it.
think.
I'm going to buy it and put it up in the podcast studio. Yeah.
You should make a huge thing of it.
Yeah.
Blow it up.
But I can believe it's just when the guy picking me up, it just clicked with him straight away. What's like?
Wait, what's your travel thing? What is your thing that you can't live without when you travel?
Well,
just almond milk.
I'd never flown business ever.
Yeah.
I'd never done it. I think it's kind of like we have like an Irish thing.
It's hard to go back.
Like, that's the thing. I'll never fly.
It's hard to go back.
I'll never not fly business now.
Yeah.
It's, you don't know. See, when they bring me a menu and then I order the food and then I knew a guy who was on the same flight and he was like, you can get these meals outside of the designated meal times. And I was like, I'm going to ask for a water at some point in this. And they brought it.
Yeah.
I'm like getting out my wallet. I'm like, what do I? And they're like, hey.
Whatever you want, man.
The hot towel. And there's like a little storage cupboard. I just put my headphones in that.
That's so cool. So cool to hear you breaking down how flying works.
They came. So I sat on my seat and
did you see how that buckle just comes on and off and you can
yeah, but they don't check.
No, they don't check. And you can lay all the way back? Did you lay all the way back?
I didn't know that. I pressed the button.
What?
My seat went a little bit like this.
And you're
I was like, oh shit, and I'm trying to like get the guy to be like, my seat's broken. And I realised it goes flat. Then when I did it flat, the man came up and I'm like, I'm going to be in trouble now. Like I shouldn't have done this. The man came up and said, would you like me to make your bed? I was like, yeah. He goes, here, take these pajamas. Why don't you go put the pajamas on when you come? When I came back, he had put like a sheet, a blanket, and like, I couldn't believe
it's the greatest.
But it'll never be that because it was my first time.
Yeah,
it'll never be better.
Yeah.
Because I think if you walk on and you're used to that and it doesn't have that amazing
it should
thing.
have that impact.
Yeah.
Some of it, yeah, for sure.
But even like I'd never really even been in a lounge before, so I'm like taking an extra can of Diet
What
Coke
airline
from
did you
my bag. Qatar.
Okay. Ooh, that's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I remember the first time I did Qantas.
Yeah.
On the A380 from LA to Melbourne, and it was like pods.
Yeah.
And
yep.
They had a tasting menu.
Yeah.
They're like, do you want or do you want a 12-course taste? I was like, on the plane? Yeah. And they were like, yeah. So it was like a Michelin star service on a plane.
But I feel like everybody there was a frequent business person.
Sure.
Because I was making eye contact with all the other passengers.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're like,
fuck yeah.
Grow up.
I'm like, jump in my bed. Come on, like, let's. This is wild.
No, that's cool, though. I think it's
yeah.
At least you want to take a moment, even if you get used to it, to like appreciate it.
Oh,
it keeps you
did.
like,
Well, because as well, I was basically saying, throw me straight into the shows when I arrive. I think I had to sleep on the way there. Otherwise, it would have taken me a long time to feel good.
When you were in Australia, did you do intermissions?
Well, that's it. We do. Intermissions are standard here.
I know. So that's the only thing we all complain about is that you guys have intermissions because we don't do them anywhere else.
So
in North America, in South America, in Western Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, we just sit down and we watch a fucking show for 90 minutes. And here you guys are like, hey, it's been 15 minutes. Can we take a break?
Yeah, because you know what we need?
What?
A little cup of tea in the intermission.
Little cup of tea.
We need to just bring it back down. So the first time I did my first America tour in about October or something last year, and the Improv you mentioned is one of the places I did, and I asked them about the intermission. I was like, "There's no intermission." I said, "Could we have one?" It seemed like a big. So I was like, "It doesn't matter." But when I went to see Burr in Perth, 2 openers, him straight on to do a long set. I think our venues like to have an intermission because people that come into our shows drink so much at the show that you really need a bar break. When I did London, I did this theatre in London right in the middle of Soho, and the first time I did it, the venue manager came up to me after and was like, we have sold out of alcohol.
God.
So now when I do that, it's called Leicester Square Theatre. When I do that same place, when they say I've booked it, they phone the suppliers ahead of time because there's an Irish comic coming. They bring in extra booze. So when I notice when I go to American shows, you guys have at the club shows a 2-drink minimum. We do not. That is not needed here.
No.
We should have a 2-drink maximum.
Yeah.
People have drinks before the show, 1 or 2 sitting during the show. During the break, they're going to get drinks. If we didn't have an intermission, everybody would be up and down the whole show.
Really?
Whole show.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I think about whenever that like the first time that was proposed, I was like, yeah, but that kills the momentum of a show.
Yeah,
like, that's the whole point of having an opener.
Yeah,
because he goes, all right, and he gets everybody in a groove, and then they're like, why does everyone take a quick break and we'll come back? And you're like, what are we doing?
So are you doing them here?
I have to.
Okay.
I fought. I yelled. I was like, no.
Yeah.
And they wanted to charge me some crazy fee for not doing it.
Oh, okay. Because that's where they make the money is the booze.
I was like, oh, fuck off.
I feel like in Belfast, we could have made a not intermission happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of place where like people are more easy going. With when you go to Belfast, so you've never been to Belfast before?
Never. No.
What's your conception of it? I know misconception a word. Is conception a word?
Oh, yeah, I think maybe perception of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
What's your perception of it?
Yeah.
I don't think people say what's your conception of it.
We do not.
We do now.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about Belfast. I know that crazy watch dude is there.
Oh yeah,
Nico.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
I might try to stop by.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
That's my perception of Belfast. No, I mean, historically, you just know. Basically, grew up in a house where we watched the news all the time, so
you know us.
Definitely heard of Belfast. Yeah, I mean, so I don't have. The thing that really stands out is you guys. I got to say, really made a name for yourself.
Yeah.
As far as worldwide, though, when you think about how small.
Yep.
I'm saying all of Ireland really is.
Yeah.
And the population, it's pretty incredible the impact that Irish people have had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's countries with like way bigger populations that don't
like India.
Sure.
No, they've done a lot of stuff actually. Like
no, let's see where this goes. Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to think of like a big place that like what really have they done?
Well, it's just that I mean, what's the population of Ireland? Do you know?
Oh, I know Northern Ireland's 1.4. I'm gonna guess Ireland's like 5 million. 5-6 million.
That is fucking nothing, man. That's not big at all.
Yeah.
And the whole world knows Ireland is my point. Everybody knows Ireland.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Irish, whether it's like I can't even think of the word. Whether it's like stereotypes,
yes,
or just like genuine, like real products or people. Like everybody is aware of your people, and to have only a population of like 6-7 million that's pretty remarkable.
Well, I think it's because people had to leave, so like people left in huge numbers during the famine. So like roots were put down in so many other places.
Yeah.
So like that's been building up over the years.
Yeah. Is it comical to you to meet people who identify as Irish and who have like basically other than blood? Yeah,
someone who's like, I'm an eighth Irish or whatever, or my surname's...
Or even when they're like, I'm Irish, but they're just, it's like Paddy McGinney or whatever, and he lives...
I actually know him.
You do? You know him? But he lives in like Columbus, Ohio, and you're like, okay. Then.
I think at the start, like, there is like a snobbery here, I think, towards that, where you're like, oh, fuck's sake. But I think, and like even the idea that they celebrate St. Patrick's Day around the world, I thought that was like a bit weird. But then the first time I saw it in New York, I was like, this is actually a huge compliment. Like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
Like, people are really into it. It is a celebration. And then when you meet people in America, do you take St. Patrick's Day seriously here? Like, is it serious? Oh, no, I don't know. No. Okay. Because it's just like an excuse to have. That's the only thing is that pint. I feel like my whole life, it's St. Patrick's Day in the States. Yeah. And like shut down, everything's dyed green, and you're like, okay, and people are like, it's fucking St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, I think if you're outside of here, you wanna like, especially if people have left, they're desperate for that like part of their identity to be celebrated. Yeah. But when you're here, every day's like St. Patrick's Day. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, New York turns it up for St. Patrick's Day. Wild. Yeah. Yeah. I did a show there once St. Patrick's Day. I was in LA for St. Patrick's Day this year. Yeah. Doing a show. With hindsight, this terrible thing happened. So my mate was putting on a show in the Comedy Store, a St. Patrick's Day show. I saw his poster on Instagram a couple of weeks out. I said, I'll come over to do that. If you can get me on, I'll come over and do that. No shit. The Comedy Store has such a, for someone, for obviously American comedians, it's such a big thing. But when you like spend your years reading about it and seeing clips and I've been actually saw you maybe about 5-6 years ago, and I'm such a fan of American comedy. So when I went, it was like you, Sebastian, Bobby Lee, all these guys that I'm a huge fan of on the same bill for like $20 or something. So I hold it in such high regard. So when I saw my mate was doing a show there, I was like, I'll just come for 2 days or whatever. I'll come do a 5-minute unpaid spot. Wow. No problem if you can get me in. And I did it, and after I got a photo taken outside, just put it on Instagram, but I got my, the wall. Yeah. So I assume your name is on the on that wall, which must be like class. Yeah. I got my mate to Photoshop when we were there and we'd had a drink. I was like, put my name on the wall beside me as I posed for this picture. So it was like Steve Harvey, me. I put the picture up, figuring out everyone's going to be like, that's pretty funny. Yeah. The amount of genuine DMs I got from friends and other comics going, man, I'm so pleased for you. like this is so good to see.
Oh,
and
it's
like
even worse.
words like you're being a really good ambassador for what you're killing it. And words like inspirational.
What'd you do? Take it down?
I had to edit the post and write edit. We photoshopped this, but because I assume everyone's going to look at that and be like, yeah, very funny.
Yeah.
But it's the fact, because the Photoshop is too good.
Yeah, too good.
We should have done a Comic Sans font or something like that.
Dude, the same thing. I've put like photoshopped photos up, and people are like, "You look really good." And you're like, "This is a purposeful filter." Like,
I was going to ask, have you ever done like a stunt or something for promo? Because your promo was always so good. But have you ever like done something that was clearly a joke that people took seriously, or that backfired like real bad?
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, I think I feel anxiety with the question, and my memories are like, "Don't tell them." Like, yeah. I mean, for sure, I've done the Photoshop stuff. I've done promos, jokes that I've posted out of context.
Yeah.
That have backfired and gotten people really upset.
Because even you posted up I think an Instagram story or a post for the Dublin show.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Come, let's celebrate the coronation together of the king."
Yeah.
Like that, people, 99 out of 100 people here will love that.
Yeah.
But on anything like that, would you get some DMs?
Yeah, you always get.
Right.
And that's the thing is that you realize people have this instinct. You lose it over time.
Yeah.
You have this instinct where you want to go, no, man. Like, I was joking.
Yes.
Right? That's what you want to tell people initially.
Yeah.
The longer you do this and the more you do it for, and the more people that are the more you go like, "Oh yeah, no, you let the people who get upset be upset."
Right, yeah.
You let the people explain to you that they're not happy about the coronation of the king, and let them do that, you know? And like people were like, I was holding orange juice and they're like, "That's not Guinness." And I was like, "Yeah, it's orange." Like, I was like, "I have my pint of Guinness," and they're like, "It's orange though." I'm like, so you know, instead of like responding, you just let them run with that.
Yes.
Yeah, I have, I've done that kind of stuff a million times where people are like, "Hey, you're wrong about this." And you're like,
That's the joke.
That's the joke.
When you're in Belfast, say we were like curating.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
That's a word.
Okay.
If you're checking if it's a word.
Because I would say curating, because we don't really use a G.
But do you do that Irish thing that I've heard where they say like me ma, like me ma, like, you know?
Ma, yeah.
But you say me?
No, I would say my ma. Me would be more down south here.
Oh, okay.
Dublin and that kind of thing.
They'll say like me Hart. No.
Yeah.
And why? That's just like it's just a colloquialism.
Just a cultural language thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'll say that I subtly change words now when I travel.
Yeah. We all do.
Don't get it.
We all do.
I had a bit about, and I felt it was like a bit that I know no matter what, if a gig's going badly, I'll bring this bit out, and it usually does good.
Yeah.
And in it, I talk about being in a queue.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't use the word.
Yeah.
You say being in a line.
Yeah.
And I noticed when someone pointed that out to me, it worked. Just
you have
things.
to.
Yeah.
I learned the same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like there's this thing where somebody said to me once, they go, because in Australia, just like over here, people say like mates.
Yeah.
And I was seeing this American comic perform, and he was like, I was out with my mates and all this stuff, and I was like, sounds so fucking strange to our ear.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but the thing is, like, if you don't say that, people still understand, but if you do say it, it's just like a smoother way into this thing.
Yes.
Because that's the normal way of speaking here.
Yeah.
And you do have to pay attention to those. I just did a Spanish set in Spain.
Right.
But I realized that...
Whole set?
No, I did 20 minutes. I did the hour in English and then 20 minutes in Spanish.
Right.
But I speak a South American Spanish.
Right, okay.
So now I was having to not only do it in my second language, but then remember that the Spaniards use different words.
Right.
So I'm on stage, like, I was like, like...
I feel like you're putting so much effort into that it would take a real bastard to come up to you after and go, hey, that word.
No, they didn't, but that's the thing is, I was realizing it in the moment.
Yeah.
Because I don't do the set that often.
Yes.
But I was like in the Western, in South America and like in Mexico, people will say like carro for a car.
Right.
But in Spain, it's exclusively coche.
Right.
But I'm sitting there like saying this thing about el carro, and I was like, I corrected myself on stage. I was like,
right,
shit,
right.
like say coche. So like those little things, because to them they'll be like a carro. What's like, you know,
Right.
that's not how we call it. Like that's not the way. But I had to say this with the Irish thing. What you're saying in the down here was saying like me.
Yeah.
That to an American sounds like, do you know how to fucking read? Like, do you really say me ma? like, is that, it's insane. Like,
I feel like you can still get away with me if you're a pirate, me arties.
yeah, sure.
Like that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
That probably came from Irish pirates.
Probably, yeah. I really like your tea, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
No, it'll not be a nice temperature at the minute. That's the thing you got.
Should we heat it up?
Okay, even.
No. Oh, you're like, this,
I don't
what's done
want,
is done.
If you enjoyed the start of it, I don't want you to. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that good time. When you're in Belfast, if you were curating a day of, if we were curating a day of fun for you, what would you like to see? Like, do you want to see like do you want to see like the peace line and stuff like that? Would you be interested in that?
Something historical would be cool.
The peace wall.
The peace wall?
Yeah. You say historical, it's still fully functional. Unfortunately, there's a wall that goes through Belfast, like really high wall that separates some people that are pretty mad.
And it's still functioning.
Yeah,
and it really does separate people.
Yeah, there's a gate in it though. Like there's doors.
Who's it separating? Is it Catholics
and Jewish people? No, Protestants.
Protestants.
Yeah.
What are you?
I would be in my family. I would have a little bit of both. But what I like to do is, because back home, people get that's the first thing people want to know about you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But then I feel like a good way out of it is I got circumcised about 2 years ago.
So, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
you had an adult circumcision?
Because that was a thing that's a thing in Australia. I was doing a bit about getting circumcised, and 1 minute into it in my head, I was going, what if they don't have that here? But then I realized they do.
They definitely have dicks there. So
they do. Yeah.
Wait, why did you have an adult circumcision?
Religious, right? Yeah. Well, my foreskin was too tight.
Really?
Yeah. Now the doctor said you can try a little bit of this. This was also peak COVID, so you were bored. So
wait, how old are you?
Huh?
How old are you now?
34.
So you were 32?
Yeah.
You went all the way to 32?
Yeah. I haven't had a tight foreskin for 32 years. It just started getting tight.
It started getting tighter?
Yeah.
Is your dick growing?
Yeah.
How would it get tighter?
That's why I drink tea. It just, I honestly don't know, but it was a time where in COVID you were looking for things to do.
So when I'll address these dick issues I have.
I might need to get a circumcision. I was like, well, that's something to do.
Wait, can we back it up?
Absolutely.
So
I can't anymore, but
so all the way up until, let's say, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Do you ever have any tightness issue with your foreskin?
No.
Nothing.
No.
COVID starts.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, this feels weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, does it feel tight? You mean just when you're erect? Like
no, just generally.
So just flaccid?
It was trying to I wasn't mine never closed really at the top.
The foreskin?
Yeah.
So it was open.
Yeah. Always like a bit. That was just my natural position.
But how is it supposed to be? It's supposed to close all the way?
I've seen quite a few that like don't just close, but there's a little bit that hangs off the edge.
Yeah, and that's how it's supposed to be.
I don't know.
And yours was not like that?
Mine was not like that. Then mine started to close a little bit.
So you can actually answer this question that people discuss all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's these anti-circumcision people. Like it's a very big movement, right?
Even if it's medical?
No. I'm saying people who are like...
Oh, don't do it to kids.
Yeah, they're like, it's horrific. You're torturing and dismembering, like it's...
Yeah.
And you're destroying like what the sensation could have been.
Yeah.
And then you have adults like myself who go, well, like, I only know what it feels like circumcised, and I'll tell you this, it feels pretty fucking good.
Oh, you're cut too?
Yeah, I mean, I was cut at birth though, right? Like,
right.
So I don't know. But since you actually have been an adult in situations, do you notice a difference in sensation?
I'll say this, wouldn't thank you for a foreskin now.
You would not?
Would not.
So you're happy without it?
If it was an option for me to have a clip-on one, I wouldn't.
No.
I have not looked back since.
And does anything feel any differently?
No. For the first couple of months,
sure,
even a slight change in wind direction
would affect you.
I had to go inside. You know, like anything.
But the actual act, like when you're in a sexual state,
Yeah.
nothing is. You don't feel like, oh man, I've lost a sensation. I've
No.
lost feeling.
No. No. But
So why don't you become like this huge pro circumcision advocate? You know,
that's
that like
what I
puts out videos.
yeah, but I think the best thing is wait until you've had a foreskin for a while.
Yeah.
And then see what it's like without, because that's the jump. You're like, this is so much better without.
Is it so much better?
Yeah, the admin is gone.
Yeah.
The admin of like taking care of foreskins, like taking care of your car.
Really?
Normally it just runs, but you've got to clean it. You got to do things. One time I was playing indoor football or soccer, and I got like the ball hit right the end of my dick, and it swole.
It did.
Yeah, and then I need to piss, and it was like a bullfrog's throat. You know, it was like stuck inside.
Yeah.
And there's just no issues now. Now the only thing the worst thing that did happen is they said for like a week after you get it done, don't do anything strenuous. Stay in the house, sit down. I thought, you know, when sometimes people say stuff, you think,
Yeah.
you
Like,
probably do the opposite.
come on, man.
I went for like a 5K walk to get some fresh air after it. Horrific decision.
Really?
Yeah, it got infected.
It got infected from the walk?
Yeah. I had to put a cream on it, but then it was fine. But like the only thing that was sad is they didn't offer me it, you know, to keep. So I was very curious as to like what they do with it.
How much do they trip off? How much is it?
Oh, probably like. No, it was like. I don't know, because I would say my foreskin was probably stretch, but then they would probably stretch
What's
it
your
out.
lady think?
Huh?
What's your lady think?
Weird, really, really weird at the start. She said to me, I said, like, the day off, I went, does this look weird? Bear in mind, there's black stitches the whole way around it. It looked like I was wearing a goth choke chain. She said, at the very start, she's like, no, I think that's fine. And then months later went, I lied when I said that looked fine. I thought you'd made a terrible mistake. But now it's fine.
Now, does she have a preference? Does she like it more now?
No preference.
No preference.
She sees me as a happier guy.
Yeah.
Sans foreskin.
Sans foreskin.
But yeah, I could. Don't get me wrong, if a circumcision company approached me, I wouldn't, for moral reasons, be like, I can't get involved.
Yeah.
I could. To be fair, I would push out a promo code if I had it. Because like when I'm traveling doing stand up in the circumcision bit I have, like in Australia, I got circumcised during COVID. Who's circumcised? The amount of people that aren't shock me.
Yeah.
But then we don't get it done here.
You don't?
Nobody would get it done here.
Yeah, I thought
Unless it
it
was for like medical reasons.
pretty standard in the
Yeah.
States. A lot of people do it.
Yeah.
Wait, so this goes back to, what do you say when you're home? You said the first thing people want to know is, are you Protestant or Catholic? So what do you say?
I say I'm circumcised now, so I'm Jewish.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
Should I lie when I'm there?
Go hardline one way or the other.
Hardline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say you're a hardline loyalist.
Which means?
Not in Dublin. No, that would be more the Protestant side. Or you're a Republican if you're the other side.
So I'm a fucking Republican then.
But yeah.
Dude, I was
Isolate
raised by fucking South American Catholics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig my heels
You can
in.
only go one side of the peace wall.
Fucking Catholic.
But you can do like it's called a black taxi tour in Belfast.
Yeah.
And it's like old traditional like London cabs, and you get in, and it's usually like an ex-prisoner.
Yeah.
Nowadays they're like the tour guides.
What's the origin of the the conflict? Like, why do Protestants and Catholics not? Because like, let's be honest, if you're Catholic, you're the OG. So you came first. You're the real deal. Everyone else is kind of. So what do these? What do these fake ass Protestants want?
They want to stay. Now it'll change over time. Some people tell you different things. You would say stereotypically they want to stay part of Britain or the UK or Great Britain. I think Northern Ireland is in Great Britain, but it's not in Britain. It's in the UK, but it's not in Britain or Great Britain.
Wow, look at you getting educated here.
But more Catholic people that live in Northern Ireland want to be part of Ireland.
You want to be part of Ireland?
They're saying let's get rid of
Cut
the
the shit.
Because we're on an island.
Yeah,
So
see,
they're
that's
saying-
me. I
they're
want
saying,
to be
just
part of
let's get
Ireland,
together.
dude. Yeah.
So I think you would enjoy the Peace Line tour.
Okay.
It's very fun.
Fucking
And like the guys who do it are wild.
Are
You
they?
know what I mean? Like they were in it, and now they're just a tour guide. It would be like You getting the tour of Alcatraz from Al Capone.
Jesus Christ.
He's been in it.
Yeah.
So the guy's not just telling you stories. He's
Yeah.
like, I did that.
I did that.
Yeah.
See
He's like,
that guy's-
12 people died here.
See that guy's foot over there?
I did, yeah.
I cut that off. Yeah. Cool.
Because I like to plan stuff when I'm away. Like when I was in Australia, every day I was going out to try and see and do things.
Sure.
And take as much of it in as possible. So do you balance that against find time to like relax and not do
100%.
anything?
But I feel like I used to be the I don't want to do anything guy.
Yeah.
And you need a bit of that,
Yeah.
but an extreme of that is too much. And that's what I was.
Right.
Like I was a guy who was like nothing ever.
Yeah.
Do not propose a thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it was just about wake up, eat, sleep,
Yeah.
eat something else, lay down, go to the show.
Yeah.
And I did that for a long time. It's just not the best way to, I think, go through life even.
Yeah.
And the extreme is that you do need to conserve. Everybody has to conserve. Like, I think people don't understand you need energy
Yeah.
to what looks very casual on stage, a guy just standing and talking.
Yes.
It actually takes a tremendous amount of focus
Yeah.
and mental energy. So, like, you just, you figure out what works for everyone's different. But,
Yeah.
I'm doing this right now. I don't normally go out in shorts, but we're going to work out right after this.
If I knew you were doing shorts, I'd have done shorts.
Well, it's just because we're going to the gym. So we're going to
Yeah.
the gym from here with an Irish strongman,
Oh, okay.
Pow Dwyer. So he's coming to pick us up from here. We're going to go work out.
Okay.
So I'll do that, and that's kind of be the activity
Yeah.
for the day.
Yeah.
After that, it'll be, I don't know, mid-afternoon or something, and we'll go back, probably eat something, and then chill, because you got to you got to kind of chill. And then tomorrow's an arena show, so it'll be a casual day. I won't do an outing for tomorrow.
Right.
But I'll get up, have breakfast, work out at some point. On arena, I don't normally do sound checks, but I do at arenas, so I'll do the sound check tomorrow. Go back to the hotel, just take it easy.
Now, when you're in Belfast, would you like if I could get, do you know what I'm obsessed with? Getting access to tunnels.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Is there anything you want to do like that? Is there anything Belfast is a place, if you ever wanted to do something, it's that small of a place where everyone knows someone.
I mean,
I've been trying to get in tunnels for a long time.
The more grimy and exclusive and harder to get, I'm into
You were
it.
talking about museums. Belfast kind of place a little bit loose, so we could get into the Ulster Museum and there's mummified remains there. Sort of place we could fucking crack that open.
I mean, like I said,
We could fuck around.
the darker.
Or drive a DeLorean or something.
Yeah, that keeps getting pitched to me.
Yeah.
It's the third city. They're like, you want to drive a DeLorean? I'm like, why does this keep happening?
Well, this is where we built them. I didn't.
I would like
nothing
to drive
do
a
with it.
DeLorean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could maybe drive the DeLorean to the show.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm into that.
Around the peace line. That'd be great. That might actually end the troubles. You in a DeLorean? Yeah. Because it's
But
such
I'm going to hold out. I'm going to drive by and I'm going to hold a cross out the window so people know. Yeah. Or a rosary.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, I always have grand plans of things I'm going to do and then I don't do them. But when I'm in America, when I see something that we don't have back home, that's my whole, I'll stand outside an IHOP,
Really?
this is just pancakes, Or I can't get, there's a lot I just can't get over out there,
Yeah. But see, I think, doesn't that also kind of blow your mind, the size of that geographically? It's so enormous.
And what's wild is, in Australia's so much further away. It
Yeah.
takes 6 hours for me to get, I say hours in a weird way, to get to New
I
York.
figured it out.
Right. But in Australia, I'm going to the other side of the world.
Yes.
And everything looks the same as it does at home.
That's a mind fuck.
But America doesn't.
Yeah.
Your street signs, I feel like America probably had an option at the start. They're like, do you want to just have everything kind of similar to Europe? And they were like, no, let's put our own stamp on these street signs and things like that.
We do everything to make life more difficult. I mean, when you finally get to the point where you understand how the metric system works, and you're like, oh, this is actually very easy.
Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah.
And we just went totally.
But I love, I know you moved out of LA. I still when I go there, I see that Hollywood sign, I'm like,
I still like going to LA.
Right.
I mean, it has changed a lot in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I like I like going there.
Mm-hmm.
I still have friends there. I still feel quite comfortable there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd live there again, but I still enjoy my travels there.
Where are you doing in Belfast? Is it the Waterfront Hall?
I have no idea.
I think it is. It is Waterfront Hall. It's unbelievable.
Really?
It's built like for orchestras.
Oh.
So the song, you could do it without a mic, theoretically.
Wow.
Not you.
Those
would,
are
but
cool.
you
I
could.
like those venues.
They're great. John Mulaney just see. We never had like you guys all coming over. Is really like a post-COVID thing.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have had that. Big acts would come to Dublin, so we would travel to Dublin to see people.
Yeah.
But now Belfast is getting these acts. It's so good.
So now is it a whole thing to travel into Dublin from Belfast?
Well, there's no border or any. Well, there's no hard border. Or
But
anything
isn't
like
there
that.
going to be?
Well, this is one of the things people are kicking off about.
Yeah.
So because of Brexit,
Yeah.
technically, you would be crossing in. If you go from Belfast to Dublin, you'd
Yeah.
be crossing into the European Union.
Yeah.
So some people are like, let's get a border. Other people don't want a border.
Yeah.
It's pretty complicated, but it's so like you don't know you're going to a different place.
So there's
No checks.
currently no.
No.
But isn't that probably going to happen?
I don't think so. I think when you get into that DeLorean, we can decide from there.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't want it to, it's not happening.
I don't want them to have a border.
You don't, neither do I, because it'd be such a hassle.
No. Let's
It's
just
so easy just to breeze
all
through.
like here's the easiest solution to all this bullshit. I
Please.
can't believe nobody is.
Please.
Just all become Catholic, man. It's so much easier.
I'll convert.
Yeah, that's my speech.
I'll speak to my rabbi
Yeah.
and see if I can convert.
No, I'm the worst Catholic too. I was raised by people who are so devout.
So into it, yeah.
Yeah, they're so devout.
They love it here.
They love it. They
Yeah.
love it. And like
Yeah.
my mom still goes to mass a few times a week.
Yeah. Irish mothers of a certain age love the Pope and
Yeah.
JFK.
That's
He's huge here.
he's huge, yeah.
Yeah. To
Yeah, I
the point
can
where
see
I don't
that.
know if they know he's.
Yeah.
And like they're still
They're like, he's so handsome. You're like, it's a pretty old photo. No, yeah, it's funny when the age where my parents realized, I think they tried for a long time to be like, you guys are going to be like hardcore Catholic too, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of sell it to them for a while. You're like, yeah. And
Yeah.
then one day you're just like, I'm not going.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like they realize it's,
I think it's like, especially where I'm from, like people and families nowadays are so mixed.
yeah.
You have a bit of everything in there. That like, there's very few. Not that there's very few, but it's becoming less and less of a thing when people are like, me and my whole family are this.
Yeah.
You know, usually like it's pretty intertwined. I want to ask your advice on. So I did a place in Belfast on my tour last year called the Opera House,
Mhm.
the Grand Opera House, which is like a Victorian style opera house, really cool, really old. And I was like, I'm gonna shoot a special here. So we shot 5 shows,
Shot 5 shows.
same outfit, 5 cameras, and it turned out real nice. And then 2 weeks later, I was doing America, brought a videographer, and I said, just document it. We're not going to film the shows properly, but just document the trip. But then all the clubs in America had like 4-camera, 4K setup anyway. So they're like, if you just bring a hard drive, if you want your show film, we'll give you it. So we started filming those shows. And after the first one, it was like, that was like such a cool show.
Yeah.
And it's in America. So why don't we just keep filming these?
Mm-hmm.
So now I just bin the Opera House stuff. So like 5 nights, big investment.
Yeah.
But I was like, when I gig outside of home, people are so curious about it because we have such a,
Yeah.
we're from like a pretty mad place. We have a very specific style of humour. And people always say, what material do you do when you, how does your material go in America?
Sure.
But of course you don't talk about home to the point where it's references that people out there aren't going to get. So I think people are so curious about how I would do in America.
Yeah.
So we took like the 4 best shows: Cobb, San Francisco, Stan, New York, Improv, LA, and Zanies in Chicago. And I cut the hour up. You remember that Chris Rock one where
Yeah.
he all around the world?
Totally.
So we cut between the 4 shows, shot it like you're in the audience of a comedy club, as opposed to like the Opera House one was going to be like a nice concert one.
Yeah.
But this is like you're in the audience.
Intimate. Yeah.
And cut between them. And now that is like the special. So I'm just going to put this out on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We did speak to streamers, but it was kind of like sit on it for a while and we'll see. But I just want to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be your advice to me about the best way to just pump that out? Is it like great promo ideas? is there a time where I should post it?
Well, you always like the trends always are changing.
Yeah.
Right? But they're also always pretty clear. Like you can't deny evidence and facts. So it's undeniable that the thing that is tracking the most right now online for stand-up are clips in short form, primarily on TikTok and secondarily on Instagram and YouTube. So in other words, you put out the hour material and then chopping it up and pumping it on those platforms is the current, in the moment, greatest way to get traction. Clips from all types of people, whether they're well-known or not, like they just find audiences if like the material is grabbing people. Yeah. So like, I don't think that people need to really overthink these things. Like, yeah, it's great to do a promo or you know, pump it. Yeah, it's great to have, you know, a guest that might elevate that podcast where it comes out, or maybe you do a big pod and like that'll help. But the truth is that clip short thing is what people are into. People are into watching minute 30 to 3 minute clips. Like that's just it's undeniable.
And then
it's what's happening.
Bookmark at the end. You put a thing at the end.
Go watch the special here. And the truth is, like, some of those clips, the little ones, will get way more views and traction than the hour thing. Yes. But it still gets the same end goal, which is like people being like, who is this guy? Yeah. Or I now know this guy. Yeah. And then they're enjoying your stuff. So like, I think trying to overthink how to do this is where people get in their own way. So right. Put it on YouTube. Everybody has YouTube. YouTube's amazing. Yeah. And then cut up those bits and put it on those platforms. And like, look, the stand-up platform of the moment really is TikTok. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Like,
oh, that's what we found. Like podcast clips. Like, I think we would only kind of be known in Northern Ireland. Like, now there's people who listen, not just so like when I'm in Australia, I'm blown away that there's Australian people,
of course,
who listen to the podcast. I'm like, what's your link to home? And they go, oh, we don't have one. Yeah. You know, because I assume
they're like, I just found
like with eBay people. Yeah. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's great though. Congrats on that.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. I just think it's a better way to like the concert and stuff would have been nice and it looks professional, it looks polished. Yeah. But this is just something different, you know.
I got to make sure that this.
No, we're
I just want to make sure that this power lifter is not upset outside. Okay.
Tell him I'll kick his fucking if he's got a problem.
Yeah, you got to see this fucking guy.
He's a big guy,
dude. Here, you don't know this dude?
No.
This guy?
Oh, okay. I do know him because there was a clip. Yeah, there was some viral clip of him.
I'm going to tell him you said he was a bitch.
No, tell him. Ask him if he's interested in getting circumcised. I've got a promo code. He can come down to Belfast in the day. I'm coming to your show in Belfast, which is going to be great.
You are?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Of course, like, having acts like you and the John Mulaney was here like about a month and a half ago. Kevin Hart. All these guys, like, this is because I'm such a big fan of American comedy. Yeah. You guys coming to my city is like blows me away. It's the best thing. So we used to always have to travel, and it's great. I think we've got good venues. I think you'll enjoy it. It's the crowd are up for it. Yeah, you know.
Can't wait to talk about my day in the tunnels.
Yeah. Honestly, we can get. There's underground tunnels in Belfast, and they're on the verge of letting me in. Yeah, they're not open to the public, but like.
Should I open like just with hardcore Catholic stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
And close.
Yeah. Just do the hour.
All of it. Yeah. If you could do, you know the way you did a set in Spanish?
Yeah.
If you could do a set in Irish.
Oh yeah.
That would.
How is your Irish?
I can't. There's like a very small amount of people who can speak it, and they're so into it. But you will get people who went to like a Catholic school and learned Irish. It's patchy.
What can you say? Can you say something in Irish?
Oh, sláinte.
Which is?
Cheers.
That's it? You know, cheers?
Pogue my home, kiss my arse. I know the things that Irish
you're
Americans
saying
know.
It, yeah, I was going to say, you're saying it like a guy from Iowa. Like, Pose Mahone. Like, you can't even put a little Irish flair on it?
Pogue Mahone.
There we go.
Yeah.
Please.
You just speak English with that accent.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of it. No, it's sketchy, but we'll have enough time to translate your shit. That'll be fine. Tom, I appreciate you doing this so much on your day off.
No, it's my pleasure,
I'm a
man.
Massive fan. I'm very excited for the show. We've got the tunnels. We've got the DeLorean. We're going to end.
You're setting that up,
each
right? The
process.
DeLorean?
I'll set the DeLorean up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you let it rip? Like they let you like punch it? Okay.
I think there's like 12 of them left.
12.
So like, fuck it.
Were they made there?
Yeah.
In Belfast?
Yeah. In a factory by John DeLorean, but he fucked it.
Cocaine.
You know? Yeah. But yeah, they were everyone knows someone who knows someone with a DeLorean.
Really?
Yeah.
In Belfast they do?
Yeah.
Have you been to Austin, by the way, to Texas?
No.
Are you going to go?
I want to do Austin, New Orleans, a couple other places. I've only done like the places you'd imagine someone would go.
Joe's new club is
If that makes
rad.
sense. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
That's such a like, I feel so much of it is like you've got your nose on the glass looking at people. Like being here, like the pound for pound, the stand-up scene in Belfast is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like people really support their own, and local acts are playing the arenas, and that doesn't happen in a lot of places. But when you're on Instagram and you see like American comics and they're doing Joe's new club in a store, it's that's why when I go to those places, it's like IHOP
that place
times 2.
is great. There's also the Creek in the Cave.
Yes,
which is in Austin, which is really great too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a ton. You know, we have a great infrastructure. That's one thing that I've learned from traveling and touring the world, is like, and talking to comics.
Yeah.
Is like how fortunate we are as comedians just to have that infrastructure of like just clubs.
Yes. Yeah.
All over the place. So
Yeah.
But there's so many good ones in the States that are really cool. Like, it would be really cool for you to do Acme in Minneapolis.
Okay.
It's like one of the best clubs in the world.
Right.
Comedy Works in Denver.
Yeah. People shoot specials there all the time. I think.
It's like magical, man.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Yeah,
it's
'cause
not fair. It fucks you. Like, we always used to go.
It's like flying business.
And you go, it is like flying business.
Yeah.
But you get there and you do a weekend and you're like, it's actually good that I don't live here.
Yeah.
Because this would give me the illusion.
Yes. Yeah. This was like all the time.
That like this is normal.
Yeah. No, I need to figure out going to a few places, because I've just been going back to the same places.
Yeah, you got.
And I love it, but I need to go see different places.
You got to do that. You got to do it. There's so much. There's really so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there an IHOP in Austin?
Is there an IHOP in Austin?
Because that's going to sweat.
I think there is, but we're like barbecue capital.
Yes. Yeah.
And biscuits, like southern states like their biscuits.
Mm-hmm. We call those baps.
You call those what?
Baps.
Bops.
A bap.
A bop. A bop.
BAP.
A bop.
Yeah.
How you say it? You say
bap.
We call those baps.
Yeah. Gonna have a bap.
Gonna have a bap.
Put that pulled pork in a bap.
And that's a biscuit, or what?
No, that's a bap, like a bread roll.
A bread roll.
Yeah.
What's a biscuit to you?
Oh, a biscuit's like for dunking in your tea.
Dunking
sweet
in
biscuit.
Your tea.
Yeah.
What are all the different ones? So there's bap and biscuit.
There's a bap, biscuit, loaf is bread.
Loaf is bread.
Do you know what doot is?
A doot?
A doot.
Doot.
Yeah, if you look at that doot.
What's that?
Vagina.
Okay. And a fanny is...
Oh, yeah, vagina.
A vagina, too.
Yeah.
And then a knob is like a cock.
Yes. Yeah.
These are all different.
Or a Williard.
A Williard?
Yeah, Williard.
Or a Corey?
No.
That's a British thing then.
I don't know. It could be like an English thing, maybe.
It's English. It for sure is.
A Corey?
Yeah.
Nah.
Pull out your fucking search machine.
There's no way.
There's a fucking way, and we're going to talk about it.
A Corey?
A Corey, yeah.
Like Corey or Q, or with the breakstones.
Is that slang?
Nothing yet.
What?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do your job.
Yeah. Do you want me to phone an English guy?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder, do I know any English guys? Okay. Dan, who do we know that's English? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
I mean, the first thing literally that comes
Slang
up.
for the penis, but it's Cockney rhyming slang.
Yeah.
Right, so it must be Corey. I bet you there's a name, Corey something, and that's rhyming slang for something else.
Okay. But whatever. I don't know all your guys' goddamn backwards bullshit over here, okay?
Yeah, I don't know.
You still found nothing?
I'm looking up for Cockney rhymes now.
Our internet in Ireland is we're still on 2G. so we might not have that.
Okay. Or what else we have?
So I would say my Corey's cut.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's what, if I go pro circumcision and I maybe Corey's cuts.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you could.
Corey cuts.
Yeah, you could do a whole like
Yeah.
pro Corey cut.
Yeah. Get your Corey cut.
Get your Corey cut. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I need to arrange a trip, go to places outside of the places I've been.
Yep.
And say, I need to see more of America. I feel like I go to tourist places, but I need to see the real parts. You know.
Yeah, the real parts might turn you off, so you might want to stay.
No, I think I'd like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd like it because I love. Like I'm at the point. I've been to New York maybe 10 times, and I'll still go to Times Square and go.
Really?
Yeah. Like I stay at Times. People are like, "Don't stay at Times Square." I'm like, "How am I going to see it? I'm not staying there." Yeah. I'll have seen every billboard. You know, by the time they change, I'm like, "What's the next
and you
one
still
going to
love
be?"
it.
Yeah, I'm taking way. You know, Coca-Cola.
And in LA, where do you stay? You stay in Hollywood, so you can look at the Hollywood.
Stay
sign?
West Hollywood.
You do.
Yeah. Do you hate that? Like, am I staying in like the most?
No. West Hollywood has cool stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
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 But the last time I was there, I stayed directly across the road from the Comedy Store
At the Pendry?
at the Hotel Ziggy.
Okay.
And that was kind of cool because it was right beside it. So we just went to every show.
Really?
And you said about bringing that act on, calling him Mister.
Yeah.
I call Bobby Lee Mr. Bobby.
Mr. Bob?
Mr. Bobby.
Mr. Bobby.
Yeah, Mr. Bobby. Like I panicked when I saw him.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, I just want to say, huge fan. Really enjoyed the set, and he chatted to me for like a break. You know when like you don't expect it, so you just want to say hello. And you've like almost started to say goodbye, and then they start a conversation, and you realise you got to pivot to be back in the conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no worries. And then he's like, I got to go do that, and I said, no worries. I was like, thanks for chatting, Mr. Bobby. I panicked, and I wanted to show him the respect. I think I might have bowed. I don't know. I didn't bow, but
I hope you bowed.
But still seeing these when I see these, because at the Comedy Store you just see people walk in the corridor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's a cool place.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
And like even just being in that green room thing at the Improv, and there's all these like big comics there, and you're trying to like play it cool. I love it.
That's cool.
I love all that stuff.
Yeah, those are fun places too.
Who is there still a comic that would make you like a little bit? Oh wow.
You know, the two that I've recently met that I'm meaning in like the last couple years that I was like, I definitely was like.
Yeah.
Were Jon Stewart
Yeah.
and Chris Rock.
Oh, okay.
Because they both were like guys, and I still admire them, but I'm saying like who I was watching
Yes.
even before I did stand-up.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's that thing sometimes as well of you don't expect these people to you don't expect to still be able to go to see these people perform.
Yeah.
Like I went to see Elton John recently, and I was like, how mad that he was in the 60s he was performing. We're in 2023 and that's him.
Yeah.
Same with the Rolling Stones, saw them in Dublin, and I was like, they're still doing, I'm still able to see this the way people saw them in the 60s. Although the only thing that wasn't rock and roll is Mick Jagger kept disappearing off stage. He'd like do a little bit of a dance, the band would come on and he'd nip off, and we were really close to the front, and my wife's like, what's he doing back there with his nose? He had a handkerchief and he kept going off to blow his nose, and I was like, that's ruined the illusion that I've seen that.
Sure.
You know that he has a little runny nose.
Little runny nose, yeah.
But it was still good. Do you know who else is in Dublin right now?
Who?
Bruce Springsteen.
He is. He's actually, and he was in, because I was in Barcelona, and he was in Barcelona, and then I was in Madrid, and I think he was in
Have you
Madrid.
routed this to follow the Bruce Springsteen?
No, so this is funny. I mean, also he was at my hotel, so we were in the same hotel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you want to know something?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Bruce Springsteen. I've never listened to him play, and I got invited to his show, and I said no thanks.
Where, in Spain?
Here too, and I got backstage offered, and I was like, I don't want to go. I don't give a fuck.
It was him asking.
No, it wasn't him,
at the breakfast buffet.
But I was like, no.
Like, so most people would be like, I'll go and maybe just like show your face, but you've.
I have zero interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, do you want to go see this fucking ballerina do it? I'm like, no. I'm not. I mean, here's the thing. When you say I'm not a fan, it sounds like you're saying I don't like you.
It. You just
what
don't
I'm
know
saying is like I'm not
Yes.
well versed.
Yes.
And I like the idea of going to this stadium to watch him do this shit. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
What would be sad is every night after his performance, he's in it and he's killed it and he's looking out for you. And then he always just does that thing.
Tom here.
He goes to the box office. He's like,
Yeah.
did he pick them up?
Pick up his tickets.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you sold 70,000 though. And he's like, I don't care. Yeah, like I just have zero interest.
Yeah.
I have zero interest.
The boss. Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Do you think
I'm not saying that, like, people would be like, you're not better than him. Like, I don't think I am. I'm just saying I don't care to see this.
Want to go? Would it change things if? So tomorrow morning, or you go back to the hotel, you do a workout, you go back to the hotel, you shower, you maybe go down to the lobby for a coffee.
Right.
Bruce sits down beside you.
Yeah.
He says, "Tom, I heard you were doing tea with me today. Can you
Yeah.
get me on? Whatever." He says, "Listen, I'm doing a show. Where are you going
doing
to
a
after
show
this?
tonight."
Glasgow.
Yeah.
We're going to overlap in Glasgow.
Yeah.
It would mean a lot." And he's an older guy.
Yeah.
And he's just a little bit. He's crying.
Yeah.
He said, "It would really mean." He said, "I can't go into it for personal reasons.
Yeah.
It would mean a lot to me if you came to the show."
Yeah. You know what I would say?
What?
I'm definitely gonna do my best to make it. And then,
I think that would be enough for him.
yeah, and then I'll be like, you know what? I'll be there. And then I wouldn't go. But when he asked me, I'd be like, that was unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, I just, look, dude, I'm not fucking going. I also got asked by the person who offered me like this incredible access. When I go, I don't want to go. They were like, seriously? And I was like,
No one's ever turned. They're like, "You can watch Bruce Shaw after
I was
the
like,
show."
I go, no. And they're like, really? And I
Because
go, no.
they're waiting for your reason as to why you can't make it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, "I can't make it because of this."
Yeah.
So they're like, "You can't make it because of," and you're just, "I just can't make it."
Yeah.
Who would you go like? Who would you go and see on your night off, all access,
Well,
music wise?
who would I go
Yeah.
see? I mean, there's a lot of acts. I don't act like there's a lot of acts, but there's acts that are very popular
Yes.
that I wouldn't go see.
Would you go see Ed Sheeran?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
that's funny that it's like, go see Ed, yes, all in, and they're like, if you enjoyed that, Bruce Springsteen, you're like, no, absolutely not. Did you meet Ed?
I did not meet Ed. I was in New Zealand.
Right.
Were we in Auckland? I don't think it was in Auckland. We were in New Zealand, and I don't think it was Auckland, actually. Maybe it was Wellington or...
Mhm.
Fuck, I don't remember now.
Let me
But-
run people by you and ask you, would you accept access all areas?
Okay.
Backstage?
Okay.
Van Morrison.
No.
What?
I have zero interest. I'm just telling you who I'm interested in seeing.
Okay. Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I would go to that.
Roy Orbison.
No.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney. Little intimate acoustic solo gig.
You
50
sold
people.
me. You sold me on the intimate part.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Ray J.
What?
Ray J.
Ray J?
Yeah. Intimate show. He's got a string quartet. Do you know I had a CD single, Brandy and Ray J, Another Day in Paradise?
Really? I had a couple Brandy singles.
Only a few years ago, I realised that was a Phil Collins song, and when I saw it, my first thought was Phil's got a
Collins?
cover of Brandy and Ray J, Another Day in Paradise.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
You had a few The Boy Is Mine. Was that her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to go.
No. Tell me. I want. Please. This list is so good. Please tell me a few more.
Streisand.
No.
Kanye West. Because that's such a unpredictable night.
Well, that's the thing, is that at this point,
Yeah.
I really feel like when I've seen him in this manic state, I'm like, this is so crazy that like if I want to see crazy, I'll just see the clips from this. I don't think I need to like
Yeah.
be in the room and be like, just spend an hour going like this to someone, like, and then looking back at the stage and keep going.
NSYNC without Timberlake.
In sync without Timberlake.
Mhm.
No, but would I go to Timberlake 1,000%?
Right, Timberlake with the rest of the boys.
Sure. But I mean, I would go see that dude in a heartbeat.
Last one.
Please make it a legend.
Like, okay, it's you've got to travel like an hour for this.
Travel an hour for
Yeah,
this.
but it's access all areas, everything.
Man, okay.
Adam Levine
No. Are you out of your fucking mind?
with Maroon 5.
I don't give a shit. Not a chance.
Adam Levine with Ray J.
No. No.
Brandy. New album though.
An hour?
Only doing the new album.
But hour?
Yeah,
No.
2 hours. It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Okay, we're getting kicked out.
Okay, all right.
But I massively appreciate you agreeing
Absolutely.
to do this. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the tea.
No worries.
What kind of tea was it?
That was Punjana. Sounds exotic, but they make it in Belfast.
Really?
Yeah, just to make it sound exotic. Belfast tea probably wouldn't sell internationally. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed your tea.
I
See you
did.
at the Belfast show.
Okay.
Thank you for the advice on the special, and enjoy your time in Ireland.
Appreciate you.
Pick
Thanks
up
so much.
Catholics.
Go Catholics. Go Catholicism.